About 1/3 of the world's population, that's around 2.6 billion people, lives in authoritarian regimes according to the latest data. Democracy and respect for human rights are core values of the European Union. The EU invests considerable resources in protecting those working on the front line, to pressure governments into respecting their human rights obligations. At the EPRS, we have assessed the implementation of the EU guidelines on human rights defenders in countries outside the EU. The EU Action Plan on Human Rights and Democracy, that's the EU policy framework in which the guidelines are embedded, is relevant and coherent. However, no timeline by which the human rights commitments must be achieved has been set. The EU has developed an impressive array of instruments to support human rights defenders. Liaison officers helping human rights defenders are now working in EU delegations around the globe. Delegations and EU embassies increasingly use the guidelines as a framework for action. And new financial tools to support the application of the guidelines have been created. It has also been hard to determine whether diplomatic efforts have actually been fruitful, because they usually take place behind closed doors. While civil society actors have been consulted, they ask for more meaningful participation in meetings, even high-level meetings, and increased political support. So how could we strengthen the guidelines to better protect human rights defenders? According to our analysis, 3 key actions could be considered. Firstly, to update the guidelines to widen their scope and clarify who is a human rights defender. Human rights defenders are committed to peacefully protecting diverse rights and communities, spanning from those regarding the land and biodiversity, labor and minorities, to the right to non-discrimination based on gender or sexual orientation. A comprehensive definition could convince EU countries to facilitate the issuing of visas, for example, by making the application process clear and accessible. Such a move could involve creating a specific category in the EU visa regime for human rights defenders at risk. Secondly, boosting transparency and access to information on how the guidelines are implemented could help ensure parliamentary oversight. Thirdly, increasing the funding available for the protection of human rights activists, the flexibility in the programming of projects, and the number of staff in the EU institutions could help us better respond to a potential surge in the number of requests for assistance from human rights defenders. The EU Action Plan for Human Rights and Democracy is due for review in June 2023. This is an opportunity for members of the European Parliament to reflect on how to enhance the effectiveness of the guidelines.